Mole had long wanted to meet the great Mr. Badger, who lived deep in the heart of the wild wood. So one afternoon, while Rat was busy, Mole slipped quietly away to visit the wild wood by himself. The trees grew close and dark, and the wood wrapped itself around him like a great hush. At first it was fun, but soon the holes in the trees seemed to stare back at him, and Mole grew uneasy. First he thought he saw a face in a hole, then another and another, watching him from every side. Then came a whistling, faint and far away, passed from one hidden watcher to the next. Then a pattering, like little feet hurrying closer, filled the air on every side of him. At last, in a panic, Mole ran, blindly and wildly, caring only to put the sounds behind him. At last, exhausted, he crept into the hollow of an old beech tree and lay there, shivering with fright. When Rat found Mole gone, and heard he'd wandered toward the wildwood, his face grew grave. Rat buckled on a pistol, took up a stout stick, and set off at once into the darkening wood. "Moley, Moley, where are you?" called the Rat, again and again, pushing steadily through the dark. "It's all right, Mole, old chap," said Rat gently. "I've got you now, and nothing shall harm you." "Those are just weasel's dotes being silly," said Rat. "They'd never dare trouble us together." As they set off for home, the first soft snowflakes began drifting down between the branches. The snow fell faster and faster, covering the paths and turning the wood into a strange white maze. Soon neither of them could tell one snow-laden tree from another, and they knew they were lost. Mole's foot caught on something hard beneath the snow, and down he tumbled into a little hollow. "Why, Mole," cried Rat, brushing away the snow, "you've fallen right over a door scraper." There, half buried in snow, stood a solid little door, and this, they realized, must be Badger's home. Rat seized the great iron bell pull and rang it long and loudly, and this until at last they heard shuffling footsteps. "Good gracious," said kindly old Badger, peering out. "Ratty! And Mole too? On such a night? Come in, come in!" Inside, all was warmth and comfort, a crackling fire, and the smell of something good cooking. Badger wrapped them in warm dressing gowns and set them by the fire. The shivering finally stopped. Badger set a simple, hearty supper before them, and never had a meal tasted so good. "That toad," said Badger heavily, "wrecking motor cars right and left. It cannot go on like this." "When the summer comes," said Badger, "we shall take him in hand, and haps, the three of us, and talk some sense into him." Full of good food and warmth, Mole and Rat found their eyes growing heavier by the minute. Badger led his sleepy guests along a snug passage to a little room with 2 small beds. And so, safe underground while the snow fell outside, the 2 friends slept soundly till morning.
They woke to a soft glow filtering down from above, and the smell of breakfast cooking nearby.
People come and people go, said Badger, but the badgers, they simply stay on, generation after generation. Mole marveled at the old walls and buried halls, wondering how long ago people had lived there. Badger led them on through a hidden tunnel that would bring them out safely, far from the wildwood's dangers.
At last they popped out through a hedge into a snowy field, blinking in the sudden brightness.
And there, spread before them, lay the fields they knew so well, safe and sparkling under new snow. They thanked kind-eyed old Badger from their hearts, promising to visit again when summer came round. And so Mole learned the truth of the wild wood, and that, with a true friend beside you, no path home is ever too far. The next morning, Mole and Rat woke to a hearty breakfast, warm and filling, in Badger's cozy underground kitchen. Suddenly, a loud knocking echoed through the tunnels, and Badger rose to see who had come calling.
In burst Otter, breathless and worried, having tracked their trail all the way from the riverbank.
"Thank goodness you're safe," panted Otter, dropping into a chair. "I feared the worst when I found your tracks vanish in the snow."
And there's more. My little Portly has been missing these 2 days.
And I cannot find him anywhere.
Now, said Badger gently.
Young otters wander off exploring all the time. He'll turn up safe, mark my words.
Otter managed a small smile at last, comforted by Badger's steady, reassuring words. While they talked, Mole's eye wandered to the old stone pillars and arches that framed every passage.
Ah, you're wondering about the old stonework. Come, let me show you.
Long before the wildwood grew up, said Badger, there was a whole town here, with streets and houses.
Otter managed us and people go, said Badger, but we badgers, we simply stay on generation after generation.
These passages run for miles, right under the whole of the
Badger
wildwood.
gestures broadly to show the scale of the tunnels. Mole is very small against the scale of the passages.
Best not wander down that one alone. Even I get turned about sometimes down there.
They wandered back together, Mole still full of questions about the town that time had swallowed whole.
Back at the table, talk soon turned, as it always seemed to, toward their friend Toad and his troubles.
Wrecked the caravan chasing after some motor car and hasn't stopped talking about engines since.
Rat laughs and mimes holding a steering wheel. Mole shakes his head gently from side to side.
It's gone beyond a joke. That Toad will do himself a real injury one of these days.
When the summer comes, said Badger firmly, we shall take him in hand, all of us together, and talk some sense into him.
Back at the Greed, friends look out for one another, whatever foolishness might come next.
Otter rose at last, thanking Badger, and set off once more.
To search the banks for his missing son. Mole and Rat, too, knew it was time to think of home, though neither was eager to face the wildwood again.
No need to brave the wood at all, laughed Badger. I've a shortcut that'll take you halfway home underground.
Behind a curtain in the kitchen wall was a low, dark tunnel, leading off into the unknown below. They ducked into the tunnel single file, Badger's lantern the only light guiding their way. Roots twisted through the walls like old friends, and every so often a forgotten brick peeked through.
In one wide chamber, their voices echoed back at them, and Mole laughed out loud at the strange sound.
On they went, single file, past old timber props that had held the passage steady for generations. Badger never hesitated the forks and turnings, for every passage was as familiar to him as his own kitchen. At last, a thin beam of daylight appeared far ahead, and their steps quickened with relief.
"This is as far as I go," said Badger kindly. "Straight on now, and you'll come out safe by the hedge."
They waved until Badger's lantern was only a small, warm glow, then turned and walked on toward the light. At last, they popped out through the tangled roots of a hedge, blinking in the sudden brightness of day.
And there, glinting in the distance, lay their own dear river, exactly as they had left it. With lighter hearts, they hurried along the frosty bank, eager now for the warmth of home. Soon the chimney of Rat's own snug home came into sight, smoke curling invitingly into the cold air. Never had their own warm, nor their own four walls so dear, as on that snowy evening. Mole thought of Badger's kind old face, and the great buried halls beneath the wildwood, and smiled. And so ended their visit to Mr. Badger, a friend for all seasons, safe beneath the wild and watchful wood.